Russia is burning on all sides, the stock market has hit rock bottom, and Gazprom is worth less than it was in 2008. In the Sea of Azov, 8 tankers have been destroyed, followed by the total devastation of oil refineries in Omsk and Saratov.
Who the fuck on Russian territory in Siberia is doing this kind of shit? Who is transporting these drones, Nikki?
This isn't just Syria. Failures, this is a systemic collapse. The economy, the fleet, and oil are all plunging into the abyss at the same time.
I have actually just spent the last 20 years working as a dedicated laborer. Now there are incredibly long lines of vehicles at each and every local gas station. They say there won't be any gasoline soon.
How and why did this happen, and what does it mean for us? Let's figure it out right now. The Moscow Stock Exchange has fallen to the level of December 2022. Remember that time? That's when Putin announced the mobilization. The market isn't just shaky, it's been plunging for 17 weeks in a row. The Kremlin is trying to control things there, but investors are fleeing in panic because they see that their so-called stability is just a soap bubble. This is most evident with their giants. Gazprom shares are worth less than they were during the global crisis of 2008. Can you imagine the energy giant they were so proud of is now at rock bottom? VTB, Sberbank, Aeroflot all are deep in the red. There is real panic on the market, and it's not just because oil has gotten cheaper. The reason is something else. It's what investors see every night in the news. And what they see is everything burning. Russia's largest oil refinery, the Omsk Refinery, deep in Siberia, was a safe rear for them until July 6th, a place drones hadn't reached yet. Now they've been hit 2,500 kilometers from the border. This is one of the farthest attacks in the entire war. More details about the attack on the oil refinery were shared in the United News Marathon segment.
Agencies. As a result of the strike, 2 oil processing units caught fire and were damaged. These account for 3.4% of the plant's capacity. Since yesterday, as noted by Reuters, this plant has stopped selling gasoline and diesel fuel on the St. Petersburg International Commodity Exchange. Let me remind you, the Omsk Oil Refinery is located 2,500 kilometers from the border with Ukraine. Until the strike on July 6th, it remained one of the few major oil refining facilities in Russia that had not yet been attacked by Ukrainian drones. It processes 22 million tons of oil per year. From there, fuel was sent to Western Russia to compensate for the gasoline shortage after strikes on facilities in the European part of the country.
The plant that was supposed to save the country from a gasoline shortage simply shut down. And the effect was immediate. In Omsk, within just a few hours, there were lines at gas stations, and across the country, people are complaining about cars breaking down because they're filling up with something other than normal gasoline. According to the General Staff, Russia has already lost about 42% of its capacity of oil refining. This is not a coincidence, it's systematic work. 194 strikes on oil refineries just since the beginning of this year. That's 10 times more than last year. Omsk is not the end. On the night of July 8th, the Saratov oil refinery caught fire. And this is already the second time this year. That same night, strikes hit a plant in Tatarstan and an airfield in Borisogledsk. The strikes happened simultaneously so that as soon as the Russians patch up one hole, another appears. And now let's move to the sea because there's a separate series of this story there. The commander of the Unmanned Systems Forces, Robert Madyar Brovdi, reported that in 72 hours, drones struck 21 vessels, 19 tankers from their shadow fleet, a cargo ship, and a ferry in Kerch. All the tankers are under sanctions, and each was carrying a load of fuel. That's equivalent to 200 railway tank cars, and all of them were headed to occupied Crimea. Our guys were at work, Battalion, Kairos, Regiment, Raid, and others. That same night, a key substation in Simferopol also went down in Crimea. This is already the 38th facility that has been put out of commission in the south. Ukraine has even asked the world to officially recognize these tankers as legitimate targets because they are the ones funding the war. To see just how much this hit the peninsula, take a look at the footage from the broadcast.
Indeed, Ukrainian drones have reached ships that are trying to deliver gasoline to annexed Crimea. For almost 2 months now, the occupied peninsula has been living under conditions of a gasoline collapse and strict restrictions. The Russians cannot deliver fuel by land, since the land corridor is under the fire control of the defense forces. This refers to the bypass road along the occupied coast of the Sea of Azov. For more than 2 weeks now, after Ukrainian drone attacks, the Kerch ferry crossing has also been out of operation.
The Russians simply have no way to deliver gasoline right now. The sea is under fire, the land is under our control, and the ferry crossing is at a standstill. There are 3 routes, and none of them are working. This is visible even from satellite images. The lines are huge. Gas station queues in Sevastopol stretch for kilometers. At first, they were giving out 20 liters of gasoline per person, but now ordinary drivers are left with nothing at all. Fuel is now reserved only for government services. Aksyonov, appointed by the Kremlin, banned the sale of fuel for stockpiling back in June, and this temporary measure has become their reality.
In the city of Omsk, at a Gazprom station, there was an attempt to refuel.
Coming in at number 3, we are still currently waiting. The line behind me is endless.
See? Well, I hope today
It will work out.
Putin's spokesperson Peskov assures that the authorities are working, while the head of the Federation Council, Matvienko, went even further. Don't moan, look for solutions. This cynical phrase instantly became a hit on Russian social media. The resort season suffered the most. According to booking services, demand for Crimea has dropped by 31%, and in Sevastopol it has fallen by 40%. The peninsula has dropped out of the top 110 destinations. Now it accounts for a miserable 1.5% of all sales. Even their war correspondents, who for years shouted "Go to Crimea," are now asking people not to go. And the former Minister of Resorts, Liev, said outright there simply won't be a 2026 season there. And this is already hitting the most sensitive spot, money for the war. Due to the drop in oil exports, for the first time in 4 years of full-scale war, Russia is being forced to cut defense spending by 11%. According to calculations by the Washington Post, just the strikes on terminals in the Baltics and Novorossiysk have cost the Kremlin over $7 billion. To sum up, the stock market is falling because investors see the same things we do. Oil refineries are burning, their shadow fleet is turning into scrap, and Crimea, once a showcase, has been left without gasoline, tourists, or money. These are not 3 separate news stories. This is one economy cracking from 3 sides at once. And only one question remains. How many more of these simultaneous nights can the system withstand before the cracks turn into a collapse that can no longer be hidden behind words about temporary difficulties? Write in the comments which of these, the exchange, the fleet, or the factories, will hit the Kremlin the hardest this fall. Thank you for being with us. Subscribe so you don't miss the continuation of this story. See you next time.